But I can promise you this. You've answered my question. This is the promise I can promise because I'm a man of my word. I won't use these contradictions to other Christian brothers who might not be
Good.
uneducated. I won't use that. I will remember that right now that, if I have questions about the Bible, I could, what's it called? I can do research about it and this time do proper research. I'll do that. I can promise you that. Okay. Yeah, I had a question because as I told you, I have a little of a biased view. I'm an honest person. So Mark 13:32, could you explain to me why it says that the Son doesn't know the hour?
Yeah, so I'm going to hold to the same view that you talked about with reveal, and the reason why is because the word know in Greek is oide. Now, I can actually show you other verses where that word is used to mean reveal. For example, oide in the Septuagint in Deuteronomy 13:3 is used when Yahweh says that I tested you so that I could know whether or not you love me with all your heart. Now, Yahweh obviously is omniscient. We can both agree on that. Whether or not Jesus is actually Yahweh, that's a different story. As far as though Yahweh himself knowing these things, we know that he already knows them, right? But that he wants to reveal them. So we can see that word oide means to reveal. So in that same sense, we're going to believe that Mark 13:32 is talking about reveal. And again, another reason we believe that is because the disciples directly went to Christ and they literally said to him, we now see that you know everything. You know all things.
Yeah. No, okay, I understand. Yeah, because there's also another answer I got from a Christian brother. He said, for example, how we can show that it was not his duty to reveal it, because in Acts 1, you could say if this is a wrong answer, because I assume you're an honest guy. So if you give me a false answer, Acts 1, verse 6, then they gathered around him and asked him, Lord, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel? That's the hour, right? That they were referring to in Mark 13:32.
Yeah.
And it says here, he said to them, it is not for you to know the times or dates the Father has said by his own authority.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it
in the
says
same
here,
way,
it's-
he's not. Yeah,
yes,
he's not.
yeah.
He just doesn't want to reveal it to them. It's not their time. It's not that he doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he says that it's the Father's authority. All right, got it.
Because he literally predicted things that'll happen in the future. Like he literally told them, "I'm gonna be crucified. I'm gonna be in the grave for 3 days." Like he told them that, so we know that he knows the future.
Interesting. All right. Okay, yeah, okay. That is Mark 13:32. Then out of my book. Okay, yeah. What was it again? I think because you get a lot of people who debate with you. You know John 17 something.
John
Okay,
17:3.
Yes, see, you do know. Now this is eternal life, that they know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. So just to be sure, is he referring to the Father here? I assume he is, right?
Yeah, we agree, but the issue is that we believe that it's referring to a declaration of nature, not of personhood. So it's declaring how many true natures there are, right? How many true gods? Because God generally is going to be a description of nature. So you, the only true God, so you is going to be the Father, right? So you, the Father, the only true God, meaning he has the only true nature. It's not declaring how many persons have that only true natures, though. It's just declaring how many natures there are.
So, okay, that's a good answer, because someone else told me that the U stands for the divine essence, and that just made no sense. But this does make sense. Thank you. All right. Okay, now, see, since you can actually answer questions, I'll grab my notebook as well, since I'll just get rid of them if I... Hold on. Yeah, okay. You don't mind if we go for a few more, right?
Go ahead, man, for sure.
All right. Wait, no, the good teacher one was because he said only God is good. That doesn't mean he isn't God. I already know that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, this is not a contradiction as well. I also write things about Christianity that I find interesting, not only contradictions, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
It is a heresy to say that the Father was crucified, right? That's a heresy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because some Christians come up to me and say, no, that he was crucified. I'm saying, like, dude, it's a heresy. That's your own religion.
Nah, yeah, that's crazy to say that.
Yeah, okay. Wow, no way. Wait, no way. How is this the only two contradictions? No way. The rest is just writings about how Jesus can't be God.
So I was trying to tell you, bro, there's not contradictions in the Bible. The Muslims just tell you that, but it's not true.
Yeah. This notebook of mine isn't from Muslims or anything really. It's just from my own knowledge, like what I deem as a contradiction or not. Oh yeah, one more thing. This is also like a crazy thing that I've saw the Old Testament. Hosea 11:9. I wasn't able to figure this one out.
That one talks
You
about
know
God
what?
not being a man.
Yeah. Could you explain?
Yeah, well, at the time of Hosea, God wasn't a man. God had not incarnated yet, so God wasn't a man. Also, Hosea, as well as Numbers 23:19, which also says the same thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
talking about his nature, right? So it says, like in Numbers, for example, God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent.
Never he's changed his
Yeah.
mind. Does he speak
So
and then
those are
not act?
those verses are talking about his nature, right? How he doesn't
Yeah.
do the sins that men do. It's not just
Yeah.
directly saying that he, because again, we have other verses in, for example, Exodus. Exodus says that God is a man of war. Okay, so he talks like that to speak about his nature. So when he says he's a man of war, he's also not saying he's a man right there. He's just saying he's of war, meaning he causes war because he causes, the bad people to be, exterminated. So all
Mm.
those verses are just talking about his nature. It's not talking about whether or not he actually is like a human being or not.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, you answered that as well. It's crazy how from one TikTok live, the contradictions I thought I had are all gone. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. That's why you gotta
I just thought you wouldn't be able to answer them, to be honest. All right, yeah, low key now because I gave you many claims of mine. Could you perhaps give me a claim what you think is wrong about the Quran? And maybe if I can't answer, I'll do research about it. I'll come back. If I say, yo, I wasn't able to like see research, I'll be honest. I'll come back. Well, what do you think about Islam?
I mean, I think the first one and most prominent one is gonna be rather basic, but I think that the issue is gonna be the fact that it denies the crucifixion. It denies the crucifixion, but we know all historical evidence leads to the fact that Christ was actually crucified. So I think it's going to be
Okay.
an issue.
Yes.
Also, the proper Islamic dilemma as well, which is that,
Oh, Islamic dilemma.
yeah,
If you want to talk about that, you could hear my reasoning because I believe that I have enough evidence to show that this Islamic dilemma isn't like according to my own, through my evidence that I found, I've been able to deem this no longer a dilemma. But maybe you could
sure,
be
we'll
like,
go over
yo,
both. Yeah, we'll go over both. Yeah. So the
all right,
first
no
one
problem.
obviously would be the crucifixion. So why do you think that all the historical evidence leads to the fact that he was crucified?
See, this is interesting because I've not done research about historical evidence. Could you give me historical evidence?
Yeah. So Josephus and Tacitus, right? Josephus is a first century historian. Tacitus was also a
Joseph,
historian.
Josephus,
Josephus.
Jo.
Josephus was a first century historian who very clearly spoke about how Christ was in fact crucified.
Flavius Josephus
Yes,
found him.
Josephus as
And
well as
who?
Tacitus.
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 Publicus Cornelius Tacitus.
Yes, they were both historians from around Christ's time, and
Interesting.
they both talked about the fact that um, that Christ was in fact crucified. So these were
Yeah.
historians. These are people who literally studied history at the time of Christ and were saying he was in fact crucified.
Let me read this. Publicus Cornelius Tacitus is seen as the biggest historian of Rome. More questions about him. What did Tacitus say about Jesus? I didn't even search it up. It says that famous how do you say his name? Publius Cornelius
Tacitus.
Tacitus
Yeah, just you can just say Tacitus. Yeah.
says that Jesus was executed by Pontius Pilatus.
Pontius Pilate. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, because it's in my language, so
Yeah.
I have to translate it. Yeah, it does. He does say that indeed.
So the biggest historian of Rome at the time, just around the time of Christ, right?
Mhm.
We would assume that he would know what happened in Rome because he's a historian around that time. So who are we going to trust more? Are we going to trust someone who came 600 years later to talk about the history, or are we going to talk about the historians who actually existed at the time of Christ, at the time of the disciples, that were
Okay.
saying it did in fact happen?
Okay. Yeah, you see, you're having a point. I'm giving you the point. You have it right. From this knowledge, this situation you're giving me, I'd give you the right to say that we should follow the historian, right? But only this is my claim, right? At the end of the day, in Surah 400 to 157, it talks about Jesus' crucifixion. That it doesn't say that it wasn't him. It says that it was only made to
Appeared
appear
made
like
so,
him. Yes. So my question would have to be, right? Like you both know I'm not biased, so you don't have to be biased, right? We can both be truthful to one another. If the only reason this historian says, so please, truthful, this only reason the historian says it was Jesus is because I don't know if it's through DNA, but because he said it looked like Jesus. Let's say he said it looks because he looks like Jesus, right? Let's say that was his answer. Maybe it wasn't, right? But if that was his answer, would you say, okay, that the Quran says it made him to appear like so, would not contradict the Quran because it says the one who was crucified was made to appear like Jesus? And if in this hypothetical, Tacitus said that I saw Jesus crucified, or historians said that, would that make it a contradiction in the Quran? For what I'm giving you?
Yeah, so the reason why would be that one of the reasons why they believe that he was crucified, though, is like literally because the tomb was empty and that Roman soldiers were unalived because of this. So the Roman soldiers that were guarding the tomb were literally unalived by the leaders there because they were supposed to be guarding the tomb with their life. That the guy who was, let's say the guy who was crucified was put in. They were guarding the tomb with their life. And then the next day, suddenly, the tomb was just empty.
I can search it up, right? You don't mind? Okay. Romans guards?
Yeah, the Roman guard. There was, I think, two Roman guards who were guarding the tomb. At least two.
Tomb unalived after Jesus was
Because
done.
if you were seen to be guarding something in the Roman Empire, and you were and you did not guard it, bruh, you would be chopped. Like, they didn't play games back then. Like,
Okay,
that's just historical.
I have here Theology for People, the website, and I have here, but this is like a biblical answer. The guards at Jesus' tomb were not killed unalived after his departure. Instead, they were so terrified by the angel that they became like dead men. Then went to the chief priests and were bribed to lie, claiming Jesus' followers stole the body. While the narrative in the Gospel of Matthew doesn't specify their ultimate fate, it notes that they were still spreading the lie when the Gospel was written.
Now,
and it says,
now that's a good point. Why do you think they went to the chief priest and tried to lie and say it was stolen? Why do you think that was?
What is a chief priest? I have no clue what a
It's basically going to be like the chief, like the army chief, like who's like their leader in the army, pretty much.
Also, the leader of Christianity, sort of.
No. The leader of the Roman Empire, like their division there.
Okay.
Okay, why do you think they went to him and started to try to lie? Why do you think that was?
Lie to him?
Yes.
So they wouldn't get killed, right?
That's the point. They went and tried to lie to him because they would have gotten unalived. So the point is, if this job of them would have been, they would have been unalived for allowing this individual to leave the tomb. How did this body end up actually outside of the tomb? How did that occur? Unless it was miraculous.
Interesting. You don't mind if I go over, like, not atheist people, like historical people, what they say about it?
That's what I'm looking at. Josephus and Tacitus, by the way, aren't Christian. They're secular historians. That's why I brought you them. That's why there's other Christian sources I can bring you, but I didn't bring you Christian sources because I know you're not going to take
what I'm interested about is, I think you know God Logic, right? I assume you know him, God Logic, David Wood. I watched them, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched them, but every single time I watched them talk to, for example, like, you seem like a very well educated man. If you were to talk, I think you know Sheikh Atman.
Yeah, Sheikh Uthman. Yeah.
I think it will be a very good conversation you two would have. So I'm wondering if God Logic, because maybe in some videos that they won against Sheikh Atman, but every single time I'm watching, I'm like, yo, why can't they make sense about Sheikh Atman? So why, actually, if you could explain?
What do you mean make sense about Sheikh Uthman?
Not that exactly. Like, for example, Mark 13:32. I've watched the video. It was God Logic, and I think Sheikh Uthman. And Sheikh Uthman, this might be a biased view, was making more points than God Logic over whether or not he knew the hour. And God Logic, like, over time, he formally, like, sort of agreed with him, but also not entirely. So I'm, like, asking if you, I don't know if you're more educated than God Logic, but if
He's a very smart guy. I'm not sure. We're both educated.
Right. If you could explain it so well, because I'm actually using quotes from Sheikh Uthman. Like, this isn't my entire own knowledge. Orthodox Muslim Sheikh Uthman. If you are able to explain this to me, how come he isn't able to explain it to Sheikh Uthman? Like, I don't get it.
But those are bad people to watch. I'm telling you, like, they don't make any sense. Like, they don't. They lie about things too in Christianity.
Right. Okay.
So, like, I would just be careful when you're watching those people. You know, again, it's just doing proper research, right? Like, you got to look at research and in every
According
case.
to the Gospel of Matthew, the guards were watching over Jesus' tomb. This is a historian. Reported to the chief priest what had happened when the historians talking about angels. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
quote from
because they're
Matthew.
actually giving the account of what happened according to the text of the time. According to the text of the time, we have the Gospels, okay? You guys don't take the Gospels, that's fine. The issue is, though, the Gospels are going to be the earliest historical account of what we have that actually occurred there.
Okay, you want to know my problem with the Gospels, and
Hmm.
then you could try to explain it to me because
Sure.
I've had many problems. They've been answered, right? My problem is that we don't have the original manuscript. That's my main problem with the Gospels. So why do we not have the original manuscripts? Because
Yeah.
I believe that it was not until what a few hundred years later that they named the Gospels like Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. Maybe a couple of decades, and I believe that in the Council of Nicaea, right? This is also a problem. Two problems. I apologize. That they established the Trinity. It didn't create it then, but they started to form the Trinity. And I think it was another council when they made the Holy Spirit God as well. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering,
I'll show you both of those things are wrong. So, with
really,
the first, yeah, the Council of Nicaea thing, yeah, that's just not true. So, the first thing is number one with the why isn't there? Don't we have the original manuscripts? Well, the original manuscripts were literally written on papyrus. If you know anything about papyrus, it
who is
disintegrates.
papyrus?
Huh?
Who is
No,
papyrus, actually?
papyrus is a thing you write on.
Oh,
It's like a type of like not paper, but it's like a type of thing that you write on. Okay?
yeah, yeah.
Papyrus disintegrates like very quickly. Okay? So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna like it is to keep papyrus like intact for
Basically
thousands of
impossible.
years is almost impossible.
All
So
right.
that's the reason why we don't have it from back then. Also, another reason is when they were first teaching things, they were teaching them orally. So for the first like 50 years after Christ's death, they were teaching things orally, right? They
Right.
didn't write them down. Towards the end of their life was when they finally wrote it down. And when they finally wrote it down, we had a small amount of manuscripts. But then, as like 100 years passed, the manuscripts started growing and growing and growing. We had a tons of more manuscripts, which is why around 100 years after they started writing them, or 200 years after they started writing them, we see more and more manuscripts and history because there became so many of them. And so the
Mm-hmm.
reason again why you're not going to see those early ones is because there was very few of them, and again, and these people were writing on parchment. But that's not an issue. The reason why it's not an issue is because
Yeah,
we
okay,
even
yeah,
have
why?
quotations. For instance, we have Irenaeus, who was second century, okay, before a lot of the manuscripts. We
Right.
have the earliest ones. But Irenaeus is quoting these manuscripts. So we have the writings of Irenaeus before the manuscripts, but he's quoting the manuscripts. So we know they existed even if we don't have them. And we know that they say the same things that they do today because of the earliest quotations of them. So that's why it's not an issue that we don't have them.
Okay, and could you give me like a website for those early quotations? I'd love to do
Yeah,
research
New
about that.
Advent is a good one. If you go to newadvent.org, I believe it's .org. Let me see.
Newadvent.org.
Is
Let me
it
let me
.org?
because
Yeah, it is .org. Okay, go to newadvent.org. And then if you go to, on the top right, you'll see something called the Fathers.
okay, wait, yeah. Hold on. I'm petting my cat. That's so off topic. Wait, hold on. All right. Newadvent.org. Let me
Yeah, so
see.
then go to the top right, it'll say Fathers.
Newadvent.org. Pope Leo. Oh yeah, top right it says fathers.
Yeah, now click that.
All right.
Okay. Now, for this one, for instance, if you want to go down, you can go down to someone called Irenaeus. Okay, it's going to be in the eyes. Irenaeus of Lyons. All right. He was in the 2nd century. He wrote a book called Against Heresies, okay, which is also written in the 2nd century. Or was it in the second? Yeah, in the 2nd century, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, so tell me when you see Irenaeus of Lyons.
I see. Hold on. I see like okay. You're saying all the way down?
No, you don't have to go to the eyes.
Okay. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. Where are they? I might be blind, genuinely.
It's below Ignatius of Antioch and above Jerome.
Up below. Okay. I'm so sorry, man.
It's okay.
No, wait. Okay. So we're talking about like the headlines, like Alexander of Alexandria. Like, should I look at those or
Right,
the
yeah,
ones
yeah. Look
under
at the
them?
headlines, the bolded ones.
Okay.
Okay,
And
scroll
then
down to the eyes. There's only two.
Oh, A B C D H. Oh, I. I thought you meant why. I
Nah,
like
nah.
why.
Now you see Irenaeus of Lyons?
Oh yeah, yeah. Arena's of
Okay, and you
lions.
see
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
says adversus heresies?
Yes.
Okay, click that. Now you can see he has, I think it's like 4 or 5 books. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
5 books he has in Against Heresies. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can read those. Those are where pretty much all of these quotes are gonna be. Okay, Against Heresies was
Right.
a book that Irenaeus created to go against heresies against the Gospels, people that were preaching against what the Gospels preached. So he quotes the Gospels all the times in these books. Okay, and by the way, in Against Heresies, and this is going to your second point that the Trinity was created later on. In Against Heresies, he very clearly talks about how Christ is God as well.
Hmm.
Like very clear.
Okay.
I can show you quotes where he very clearly shows Christ is God if you want that too.
I believe you. I believe you. I'll take your word.
So he does that. So that's way before the Council of Nicaea, which is in the 4th century, right? This is 200 years prior.
Right. Yeah, and if it's the early quotes, then that means that the Gospels must have had them as well. I get
Yeah,
your
that
point.
they
I get
must have
your point.
actually existed. So even if we don't have them today because they don't, right? They can't exist on that point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that doesn't matter because we have these people quoting the gospel, so it's not an issue that we know they existed.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, man. Okay, that's interesting. I've not heard about this. Yeah. What else? Like, this will probably because it's 1 a.m. for me. After this, I'll
Mm-hmm.
go. Good answers, by the way. You've given me great answers so far.
Mm-hmm.
What I find problematic with Christianity, like the main factor I think most people do, is that it's a monotheistic religion, but your God isn't three gods. It's
Right.
three different persons, right? But you can't describe it like, for example, like how I'm a son, a brother, and an uncle. You can't say it that way. That's
Right.
modalism. That's
Yeah.
heresy. Then another brother comes and says like how a tree has branches. That was also confused. Like I've not like the Trinity is so confusing to me.
So, okay, I wouldn't use analogies for the Trinity at all. That's most of them fail. There's only very few that are okay.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
To understand the Trinity, I think the main thing you need to understand is the difference between person and essence, like what the difference is. So, a person is going to be, like in very layman terms, the person is going to be who you are, and essence is going to be what you are. So, we're saying is there's three who's,
Right.
right? Three persons, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. They only differentiate in who they are, but they have the same what, the same nature. That's why they're one God because they have the
The
same
three who's
essence.
one what, right?
Yeah, so that's why they have. That's why they're one God because they're one what, and God is the whatness of a thing. It's the nature of
Yeah.
something. That's why I said earlier when we describe God, we're typically describing the nature of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's a good answer. Well, why is someone not in my chat, whoa, in your chat saying I'm not a Muslim, brother?
It's okay. People are weird like that. It's okay.
I'm a Muslim, bro. What?
People are like that. When typically when Muslims search for answers and like actually are like honest, then people will try to say they're not actually a Muslim. It's weird.
This live stream, right? I see it like, don't get me wrong, right? This isn't a live stream for me like to convert, but it is for me to search for the answers. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like, and then once like a Muslim brother says this isn't a Muslim, what can a Muslim brother not research other religions? That's
Well,
so
I think you have to
confusing.
understand that, like with Muslims, I'll tell you right now, if you turn to Christianity, Muslims will they will go they will be against, they will fight you for that. They will be against you. And Christianity is different. If I were to convert to Islam, God forbid, never will happen. If I were to convert to Islam, I know my Christian brothers would still be there for me and still pray for me and want me to be with them. Muslims
All
are the
right,
same way.
yeah. I'd say most. I wouldn't say most because I know Muslims who are the same way, but not all the Muslims. You know what I mean? You don't know every single Muslim, you know.
Yeah. No,
But
I'm
yeah, I
just saying
get you.
like that's like according to Islam, like the own hadith, your own hadiths, right, would say that if you leave Islam, you should be unalived.
Yeah, that was a hadith. I remember which one. It was like because they put him in the fire and they were like, no, that's only God's punishment. If he were to not be put in the fire, we would have killed him instead. But I've heard as explanation that it was because if you left this, it was also confusing. If you left Islam, it was the same as like what was this analogy? Like you snitch on your military general. Like I didn't get it quite, but that
Yeah, it's
was what the
crazy.
Muslims
It's
use.
not really an explanation for it. It's just bad. And also, like if you're in like a country that has Sharia law and you're a Christian and you convert a Muslim to Christianity, you can also be unalived for that too.
Christian. Wait. Oh, Muslim. Oh, yeah, Muslim to Christianity. That could be possible. I thought you said from Christianity to Muslim
Nah,
on a life. No,
nah.
no.
So
All
that's
right,
the
man.
issue with it though. Like that's why like
Yeah.
Like, bro, like I'll follow you, and if you have more questions, you can DM me. 'Cause I know, like I said, it can be kind of weird because like Muslim can be kind of against you when like you start asking questions.
Right.
But
Like at
yeah,
the end of the
like I
day,
said before, the main thing takeaways from this, bro, be careful who you watch. Even if they're Muslim, dude, they can still lie to you. Like, just be careful.
How
Like, even
about this?
everything I tell you, I'll give you evidence for it. Like, you can go research on your own. Like, I don't care. But
Yeah. How about this? Yeah. I won't promise you that I'm gonna convert you because you know that's a whole that like if I'm gonna convert to a different religion, I need like in
yeah,
person talk. You know
yeah,
that the internet isn't for that for me. You know, but I can promise you this: you've answered my question. This is the promise I can promise because I'm a man of my word. I won't use these contradictions to other Christian brothers who might not be
good.
uneducated. I won't use that. I will remember that right now that if I have questions about the Bible, I could what's it called? I can do research about it and this time do proper
Mhm.
research. I'll do that. I can promise you that. Um and yeah, what else can I because I don't want to promise you like I'm gonna talk to a Christian scholar because I
Nah,
know I'm
that's
not
okay.
gonna do that,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, all I can promise you is you've changed my perspective on Christianity. Is that it? Is that
Alhamdulillah.
good enough?
That's good. That's good. As long as you know, that's one thing, bro. That's all that matters.
All right. Hey, W Christians, man.
So I
Hey,
will. I followed you. So if you wanna DM me if you have any more questions later on or something, or we get on like a
of
Discord
course,
call or
man.
something like that, then feel free.
Discord call would be great. All
Yeah.
right. Hey, thank you, man. Hey, Christian brothers, God bless. And let's say hypothetically speaking, anything might happen. I'm just saying, Allah alam. You convert, I convert. May God guide us both to the right and truthful path, inshallah.
Amen. Amen. God bless, man. I appreciate you hopping
God
on.
bless. Have a nice day.
All right, bro. Take care. Pray for that man, bro. I'm telling you, he's so close, bro. Pray for that man. He's so close.